Welcome to HTB, or How to Become, the podcast where careers start with a conversation. Each episode, we sit down with someone actually doing the job you're curious about, from trades to tech, healthcare to hands-on skilled work. You'll hear how they got started, what the day-to-day really looks like, what they earn, and what they wish they'd known before they began. Whether you're a student, a parent, or someone thinking about a career change, these real stories are here to help you figure out your next step. Let's jump into today's conversation and learn how to become, well, anything. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Bernard Peters. Today's guest is Eric Medina, who sits at the heart of a global obsession, coffee. The specialty coffee and roasting market has grown into a multi-billion-dollar industry, with roaster retailers often seeing some of the best margins in the entire beverage space. But behind every great cup is someone who understands sourcing, roasting curves, flavor chemistry, and how to turn all of that into a sustainable business. Our guest is the founder and owner of Libra Coffee, responsible for everything from green bean buying to roast profiles, branding, and getting bags onto shelves and into cafes. In this episode, we'll break down how he got started, what it really takes to become a professional coffee roaster and business owner, and the skills you need if you're dreaming about building your own roasting brand. I hope you enjoy this episode. Eric, thanks for joining me. We're on the beach today.
This is
a bit unique.
Second home. I love it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you. So you've got your own coffee roasting business called Libra Coffee. And you started it about 10, 11 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, 2015.
Okay. Before that, you were a print salesman.
Print salesman, yeah.
And what made you drop all that and decide to start to go into the coffee business?
Well, I decided that life is too short and to follow your passions. And I developed a pretty crazy obsession with coffee, and it led me down a crazy path of a journey that I wouldn't have expected.
What got you into coffee in the first place? Were you always a fan of coffee, or?
No, I actually developed it later on in life. I lived in La Jolla, and I used to kind of learn about coffee through Starbucks, like a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I was living in La Jolla, and there's this place called Bird Rock Roasters that's, was right down the street from where I lived. And I was sitting there working actually remotely at Starbucks, and I saw some friends that were at Bird Rock, and I was like, hey, they were like, come on over. And so I came over, and I remember Chuck from Bird Rock, the owner. I had a Starbucks cup in my hand, and he slipped a sleeve over the Starbucks when I walked in. And then I ended up buying a coffee, and it was like one of the best coffees I'd ever had. I'd never tasted anything.
Yeah.
It was fruity. It was like an Ethiopian, and it was fruity, and it was delicious. And I was like, wow, this is something I didn't know coffee could taste like this.
Yeah.
And that's what started the journey into coffee.
Okay, so you got interested in coffee, but you didn't go straight to buying a roaster. You first went to Italy?
Right. So I thought the path would be get some education and then start a coffee company.
Yep.
And that was kind of what I decided to do.
Okay.
I found out, first of all, I contacted Bird Rock, and I tried to get some sort of internship with their roaster, because I was like, hey, I really want to learn about this. But it was such a small industry. That side of it was pretty small.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of sharing going on at that time. And so I found out about a master's in coffee science and economics when I was with my wife in Istanbul, of all places. We were at a little niche coffee shop, and the barista told me about it. And I said, wow, this exists. And so I looked into it. I applied and got in, and it was that led to the next chapter. It was definitely a significant part of my journey.
Where was that?
That was in Italy. So I was in Trieste, Italy, which is north. There's a port there, and it was in conjunction with Illicafe. And so I literally worked with and learned from people from Illicafe and took barista training classes. I learned about from botany. I learned about genetics of coffee, just a variety of different things. Business too. We had we had some professors, one from Cambridge actually,
Wow.
come and teach a class. So it was really cool.
Um,
And people from all over the world.
so I mean, not everybody that ends up opening a coffee company goes and gets a master's in coffee science and economics, right? What do you think? What kind of advantages did going to that school give you?
I think it led to a big part of our mission, which is the clean water mission,
Mm-hmm.
where we give a percent of our sales to communities that don't have access to clean drinking water. In our program, there was about 30 students, and a lot of them got scholarships. One of them was from Burundi, which is like one of the, I think it's the third poorest countries in the world, with a lot of difficulties to access clean water. And I learned about that, how other people live, and I wanted to be able to try to give back in that way. And so from the very beginning, that was a big part of our mission, was to give back. So that stuck with me the most.
Yeah.
Plus a lot of relationships with the other students, and even the professors from Illy, I've become friends with.
What kind of students were there? I mean, were just other people in your shoes trying to start a coffee business? Were they
Not at all.
family members of like coffee barons?
Yeah, basically there was a lot of that. There was one that owned like about 30 coffee shops in Colombia. One owned a warehousing facility in Brazil for green coffee.
Oh my God.
Some had worked for green coffee companies. One person was from China that was, they grow coffee in China actually, and she ended up getting involved in that. Ethiopians and people from all over the world, really.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really a cool experience.
Okay, so you graduate with this master's degree, come back to San Diego. What was the next step?
The next step was, I always wanted to do a subscription service.
Yeah.
And so...
Oh, but you didn't have the roaster yet, right?
No. But
Okay.
I was actually, the subscription service, the original idea was to do flavor profiles using other people's coffee.
Gotcha.
So like I was going to send Bird Rock out if you liked, fruity coffees, and I was going to send some from like, just a variety of different roasters around the country to do that. And there was competitors. There was this company called Misto Box at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And a few others.
So you're going to be like a curator.
Yeah, I was going to be more of a curator, but then I was actually at the Specialty Coffee Association, had a event in Seattle, Washington,
Mm-hmm.
and I was sitting next to somebody who was from Riverside, who owned a coffee roasting company. He told me there was a roasting company for sale in Oceanside, and I was living in La Jolla at the time, and I was like, wow, it's for sale. It's like turnkey, ready to go. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so I called up, his name is Quinn, and he ended up selling it to me. And that started that next chapter of the journey.
Yeah.
Which was quite a big ordeal, actually.
What was it, turnkey or not?
It was turnkey in that there was a roaster that was there.
Yeah.
But there was no business connected with it, except for Pizza Port, I think, which is a big
it's a brewing company.
Yeah. And other than that, I was like, I had to start from the very beginning, that journey. So that was pretty tough.
Wow.
Yeah. It's hard because I got a good deal on the roaster.
Yep.
We negotiated a good price,
mm-hmm.
but then I had to figure out how to make rent every month. And for the number of months it took me to actually get any business to then pay the rent. The roaster costs a lot more than originally, than the original price tag.
Yeah. And so you were in the red for quite a while.
A long time.
Paying the bills out of your pocket. How long?
I would say 5 years. A long time.
So it's somewhat shocking to hear that number.
Oh, wow.
But when you think about it, I feel like the typical answer for any business startup is you don't expect to make any money for the first 3 to 5 years, right? So,
right.
I mean, you're right in that window.
Yeah.
Did you know that going into it?
No.
Okay.
I think I was a little emotional with that decision.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. I probably would have started with a smaller roaster.
Mm-hmm.
I started with a 24 kilo roaster with zero business, which means the minimum roast to really do a good job on that roast is 25 pounds, but 30 pounds is the typical batch size.
Yeah.
Which that's a lot of coffee for somebody that has no business and not a lot of experience roasted coffee. Like, who's going to give you 30 pounds to roast that's, that no one's ever heard of?
Yeah.
So it was really difficult for a long time.
Tell me about your first roast. Where'd you get the coffee?
Right.
How did it turn out?
The first roast I purchased, the green coffee that I purchased was from Fairfield Trading Company that one of the Colombian kids from my class, his father was a trader, sold it to Cafe Imports in Wisconsin, and I ended up buying it from Cafe Imports. So I had traceability with that coffee. I paid a decent amount of money for it, and I had no clue what I was doing. And it did not taste great. But I could say it was mine. It was, I was rocking 30-pound roasts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was scared out of my mind because the machine is big and the afterburner is huge too.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of noise. It's very loud. And it's the temperatures, we're talking 400 degrees to get it to temperature before, finishing the roast. So this is a lot of heat and a lot of combustion. And, I had no experience.
Yeah.
So it was super scary.
So walk me through a couple of the key points of a good roast. Like I remember you talking about first crack, second crack,
right?
Like the time to get there.
Right.
Walk me through a good roast.
Yeah. So a good roast is kind of like, the first phase of a roast is evaporation of water. In coffee, the 12% of the green coffee that we purchase has water in it. So you're like literally evaporating water from inside the bean for the first large percent of the roast.
Yeah.
And then you go through this phase in the 325 range, 325 degrees. And that starts to creating that like Maillard reaction, which starts to get that baked, the smell of fresh cookies and bread smell. It makes you hungry, actually.
Yeah,
when I smell it. And then it goes through a caramelization phase, which is, around 360 degrees. And then coffee can really be enjoyed anything after first crack, which is around for my roaster, it's around 382.
Okay.
382, 385 around there. And then from there, it's like everyone thinks it's such a crazy difference between a light roast and a dark roast, but it's actually just a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And so a light roast is at, 395 really to, 400. And then after that, it starts to go to once it starts to develop into the 420s, it's hard to get a dark roast. Mm-hmm. So it's just following that curve through that process and lowering the temperature. And that's what creates the different flavors, from the fruity notes all the way to the dark and sometimes bitter notes.
And which one would you say is more difficult to get right, a light roast or dark roast?
The light roast is really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much harder. It's so much easier to get a dark roast because the darker the roast, the more masking of the inherent notes are left in the bean. And so if you really want to bring out fruity notes or caramel or lemon notes, it's the mastery of the early stages of the first crack and when you end that roast.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's cut to the business side for a minute. How long do you think it took you to, from when you first did your first batch, how long did it take for you to kind of get a consistent roasting profile where you felt like you could start getting some customers?
Yeah, I would say it took quite a while. I brought in a couple of other roasters from Orange County. They were more familiar with the kind of roast profiles I was trying to do, the lighter roasts.
Yeah.
And I hired people to consult with me, to help me. And that definitely helped a lot. And basically anybody that knew how to roast coffee, I invited to my roastery, and I either paid them through coffee or I gave them money to help me.
Yeah.
So I would say it took me a year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a real year.
Yeah.
I mean, because I was very picky. I wanted my coffee to taste a certain way.
Yeah.
And at first I was specializing only in light roasts.
Yep.
Because
that's
that's
the most difficult thing.
The most difficult thing. because that's what Bird Rock was doing, and I loved what they were doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Blue Bottle Coffee was another one that was big at that time.
Right.
But I actually went through an evolution there, right? Because what my customers, the customers that what I wanted my customers to be was a certain thing, and what they ended up being was completely different.
Right.
So it ended up being darker roast, medium dark roast, ended up being our best-selling products.
That's amazing.
Yeah, which is so super crazy.
So you had to adapt to what the market really desired.
What I realized is like it's less than 10%, I think, that really enjoy lighter roast coffees.
And so tell me about the different types of customers that you have. So, you do still have a delivery business to people's homes.
Yeah. So I have this subscription service.
Yep.
We do the farmers markets. People buy our coffee from our roastery. I rent the roaster on the weekends sometimes to other roasters that are in my industry that I help support.
Yep. What about like white label and wholesale?
We do private label. Oh yeah. That's our biggest part of our business is the wholesale.
Yeah.
So we support other coffee shops with our coffee, and sometimes we do private label or we co-brand it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the majority of our actual revenue comes from our wholesale private label. Because they already have the customer base, and we just support.
And that's where the volume's going to come from.
Yeah, exactly. And when you have a big roaster, like we do, we can roast 1,000 pounds a day.
It's insane.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's 2 shifts, but that's a lot of coffee. We could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where, for other people running who want to go into roasting, where do most of the margins lie? Is it, like I can imagine, white label, wholesale, the margins are thinner than like private sale.
If you can get, I think events is a good business.
Mm-hmm.
I also think anytime that you can serve the coffee that you're roasting, the margins are really, really good.
Makes sense.
So that's like the best thing you could do. But it's also a lot of work. So you're doing 2 businesses in one, basically.
Yeah. How do you decide where to buy the green beans from? Is it relationships? Is it you try to get it from the best areas? Is it the economics of like the margins?
Yeah.
How do you decide where to buy?
Well, we buy, because we're organic certified. That's a big part of our business is we're organic certified. So we buy from importers that can procure a lot of green organic coffee, because if we have an organic Mexico, we need to be able to, say Jimbo's or any of our grocery stores that we support, we need to be able to have a Mexico organic all the time.
Right.
And so we work with the larger organic importers for that reason, mostly. Okay. If there's something special, if we have a customer that wants a very unique coffee, we'll use different, we have different importers for those. But
yeah,
the majority of the time it's through our large organic importer.
I didn't even think about the fact that you have to have a consistent and reliable supply too. Especially if you're doing high volume. It's like, I'm sure there's some farms out there that are doing some pretty cool stuff, but you need to make sure you've got a reliable order coming in all the time.
Right. And there's a couple ways to do that, right? You can work with, say you were able to go direct trade, where you go to the farm and you meet somebody there and you bring in, you just have to buy so much coffee up front, or just say you're going to buy that much coffee, and it just becomes a burden on your cash flow. So a lot of times it's cash flow driven. Yeah. That I have to make sure that there's enough money circulating all the time.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Walk me through the process of a coffee bean, from like where it's being grown to being picked all the way through the point where it's roasted and served.
Yeah. So coffee has it's a fruit, really, right? So it has a season, and that season changes depending on the region. And so there's a harvest time when the cherries are the most ripe. And in our case, we're using the top 1% coffee in the world. And in these places, majority of them are super high altitude, and they're only picking the ripest cherries. These are being hand picked not machine. Brazil is a different example, but these ones we're doing for the grocery stores, actually, they're all handpicked, and
That's amazing.
so they'll pick only the ripe cherries, and then they'll take those and they'll go to a weighing station and all of this, but then they go back to that same plant again to pick again and again, and multiple times
Gotcha.
in that harvest.
Yep.
Which is super crazy.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like wine where they just take the whole thing,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's interesting. And then it goes through a processing. And depending on the region and what their access to water is, like in Ethiopia, there's a lot of natural process where these coffee cherries are actually, after they're handpicked, they're laid out on raised beds and they are moved around. There's somebody that's there to like move them around regularly throughout the like day. And then what that does is, with that natural process, a lot of the sugars absorb into the bean, and it when it goes through its process, it comes out. When I receive the coffee, it becomes like smells like wine or like fruit.
Wow.
And it's really prominent versus the wash process that goes into like a big tub and gets washed. That process, you get a little bit more cleaner coffees and you don't smell it as much.
Is the wash process more efficient?
It is more efficient, correct.
So generally, like if you get wash, it's going to be a slightly more affordable price. Natural process, it's probably gonna be more expensive because it takes more time. You gotta have somebody there.
Yeah, it's definitely I would say so.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, and so now it's processed, and then it comes straight to you.
Well, no, it goes through a drying phase. So then they take the husk off after the process. I think it's after it's dried, and then it's ready to be shipped. The drying process, like I said earlier, it's not 100% dried out. Like there's still like 12% of it. Yeah. If it, I've asked this question before. If it was completely dried out, it would lose its flavor. Mm-hmm. So I guess by having some water in that bean, and going through that roasting process, it retains a lot of the inherent flavors of the bean.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do you look for in the beans you buy?
Well, for each region, we're looking for certain things. Like we want, like in Mexico, we're looking for like a little bit of orange. We're looking for caramel. You know, if we're looking for Ethiopia, we want that fruity fermented notes, those floral notes, lemon zest. If we go to like Sumatra, we're looking for the earthy notes, kind of almost umami. So they're all like a little bit different. And sometimes we'll, go through this thing where we'll try to blend these coffees to get a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And one of our best sellers is Mocha Java, which is that Sumatra, Ethiopia, which is that earthy notes with that fruity fermented a little bit darker roast. Yeah. With the Ethiopia that we do with that.
Would you say the market's going more towards, I feel like for a while there, early days, everything was blends, right? And then single origin really came out and people started buying single origin. Do you think that's kind of tame now and people are going back to blends, or is it 50-50, or is single origin still dominating the market?
That's a good question. I think our blends are doing best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. I feel like we have a lot of success with the Mocha Java. We do have a unique blend called the Dope Blend. And that one is doing really well too. So I think those might be the best.
I feel like a blend has got to be a bit more forgiving too, probably.
Yeah. Well, it's taking a little bit of the best from each.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the Dope Blend's crazy because it's 3 countries, right?
Yeah.
But it's 3 continents. It's 3 continents.
Wow.
It's one's in Colombia, Ethiopia, and Guatemala. So one's part of Central America, but that's North America. One's South America.
Yeah.
Right? Because I said...
and then you got Africa.
Colombia. and then Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 continents, all uniquely coming to the port, all coming to my roaster, all coming to me roasting together
Yeah.
or separately, depending.
Yeah.
And then all going to a coffee shop, all being ground, weighed, pulled on espresso.
Yeah.
It's an incredible thing.
Dude, nobody thinks about that, where their coffee actually comes from. Dude, you must have gotten hosed with tariffs.
I've got completely hosed with tariffs because I don't raise my prices enough. And because every time it was like, oh, I don't want to get political, but I might just a little bit, is that, you know, our president would say something one day and then he would revert back.
Yeah.
And coffee was one of those things that he waited a long time to revert back, to hold back on the tariffs. So what happened is I didn't quickly raise my prices. I paid what the importers were telling me that they're, you know, selling it to me for, and then I was giving the same price and giving it to my customers.
Yeah, I know people that were doing purchases, not of coffee, but I think it was clothing. And yeah, they would time their purchases because the tariffs weren't consistent all the time. And so they'd like wait, and then they'd order a whole bunch when the prices were lower, and then they'd wait again and wait for the next round. Like, yeah, it was just a lot of balancing.
Yeah, it would go down. I would watch the prices.
Yeah.
And, you know, because coffee is based on a commodity index.
Yep.
And so I like looking at stocks, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the commodity prices go down, and then, you know, you could try to buy coffee that day or whatever. But the problem is you can't live your life that way.
No, not at all.
So I try to stay consistent and just buy whenever I need it.
Yeah.
And then I'll get the good, I'll get the bad, and, you know, it kind of evens itself out.
Yeah, I can imagine you don't want to pass all the volatility on to your customers, right? So you absorb a lot of those higher costs.
Yeah, exactly. There was like a couple of months, actually it was January and February, the price started to really go down. And I was like, oh, great. Everything's back to normal. And then there was announced that we were kind of getting into a war. And then the prices went right back up again. So for a minute, I was actually doing better than even before the tariffs. But then we went into a war for that.
Yeah, oil prices are up.
Yeah. Oh, transportation prices are up. And, you know, it's a very transportation-driven industry, actually, because, you know, this stuff's coming up from 3 continents. It's crazy.
That is wild.
It's crazy. Coffee should cost 3 times more than it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you bought a used roaster, right? Basically turnkey. What are the advantages of that? Like if somebody else wanted to get into this business, would you suggest that they find something that's already set up? I mean, your roaster was, you know, it wasn't brand new when you bought it.
No, it's a vintage roaster.
Yeah. And so would you recommend somebody do something like that? Or would you recommend they kind of start from scratch, buy new equipment, new facility?
If they can get like, I think that you can, there's different types of permits now where I feel like people can do things from their house to start. And, you know, I'd start with a small machine, kind of learn how roast profiles work and kind of make mistakes and burn coffee and learn and see if that's really, you know, what you really want to do, and go out and try to sell your beans and see if you can even get a sale. And then once you see if you can, you know, get a lot of, make some traction, then, you know, buy a bigger equipment. I think I went too big right away.
Yeah.
I would definitely go half the size at least and start there.
At the same time, though, the opportunity was there, right? And you took it.
I took it.
Like, who knows if another roaster was going to become available? Yeah. And I feel like the capital investment to set something up for brand new, because you got to go through licensing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And that's actually what killed the guy that, Quinn, that started it.
Yeah.
Is that he was waiting for his licenses from the city, and it took so long that he ran out of capital.
Yeah.
Or the amount of money that he wanted to spend on this project. Yeah. You know, he actually bought the roaster from San Luis Obispo. So he had to freight it down. He had to install it. He had issues with the gas lines. It was like, it's quite a process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually probably brings me to a question which I feel like is for a lot of entrepreneurs, right? It's like you start this business like a coffee roaster where you expect most of your time will be roasting coffee and handling relationships with customers. But like, I spoke to a friend who owns a restaurant. He's like, yeah, you'd think I'd be cooking, but most of the time I'm unclogging toilets and fixing broken refrigerators.
100%. I come back to the roaster. Thankfully I have a great roaster now that roasts for me.
Yeah.
But I'll come into that roastery and I got bags hanging off and I got water bottles and it's just a different set of things to do.
And
but
things break.
Things break all the time. And, you have to be super scrappy to have any business that you want to survive these days.
Yeah.
It's like everything I have has been used, like everything.
Right.
I have had, actually, the only thing that's new is the chair that the roaster, the uncomfortable chair that he had for such a long period of time. He finally went out and, we have a Uline account. He bought himself a nice chair and I was off for that. Whatever keeps him happy. And I was like, but everything I have, I mean, even the tabletops and the grinders and everything was used.
So it's a competitive space, right?
Yeah.
How do you differentiate yourself from other local roasters?
Right. Yeah. I mean, our big thing is that we're local because believe it or not, there's a lot of companies that are using, like Italian companies that give away all this stuff, and then there's there's just so many layers, right? There's LA hotshot roasters, but for us, it's like we're certified organic, we're local. We are flexible. If they need more coffee, we can deliver it. We provide cold brew. We'll make a unique profile for them. We'll just we'll do whatever it takes, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole goal is to say yes to everything. What do you need? We'll do it. You want help with maintenance on your machine? Well, let me get you the guy. Whatever you need. Need an espresso machine? I'll help you get one.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How do you handle delivery? Because it's I mean, are you driving all this stuff around yourself?
I am currently driving around. I have an ad up actually for a delivery driver.
Yeah.
But I do find that there's value in showing face.
Yep.
And we have a set schedule. We get all of our orders on a Monday, for example, and we deliver on Thursday. And I spend the whole day delivering, but I knock it out all in one day. I say hi to our customers and, I take care of that part of it currently, but
yeah,
I try to get myself out of everything I can so I can focus on growing the business.
Yep.
So,
all right. So Eric needs a delivery driver for Libra Coffee. How do they reach out to you if they want to apply?
Hi at libracoffee.com.
libracoffee.com if you want to deliver coffee every Thursday.
Yes, that would be great. College student or whatever. It's pretty flexible as long as it's on Thursday.
Yeah.
Between a certain time.
You got the farmer's market style too, right?
We got the farmer's market. We got a great guy doing farmer's markets.
Yeah.
And that keeps our brand presence out there. Coffee is really about branding. I mean, you look at I have such a great time. I go to Jimbo's and because it's my closest customer to my house. I could literally walk there. And I sit in the coffee aisle and I just watch people make purchases or decisions about what coffee they're going to buy. And it's so funny to see, they grab something. I'm like, why are their eyes going towards that? What are they looking at? And so we're working on our packaging right now.
Yeah.
So
what's the best part about your job?
The best part about coffee is, I still have a passion for coffee.
For sure.
And, so do a lot of people actually. And everyone has their favorites. And I feel so good when someone really that I don't know likes our coffee.
Yeah.
And because I get a lot of support from friends and family like you. And it's it's always great to have that support, but it's also really cool when people you don't know are drinking your coffee. There's a story, one of our neighbors was wearing a Libra coffee hat and he was at a soccer game with his kid and this kid on his team was like, oh, I love Libra coffee. That's my favorite coffee. And it was somebody I didn't know.
That's
And
amazing.
I was like, so cool. And he sent me a text, and it was really special to see that. That's like one of the best things. And then obviously a flexible schedule.
Yeah.
I can kind of get in a surf before doing my deliveries, or
I love that.
pickleball, or whatever else I like to get into.
Oh, one question I did want to ask is the organic certification. I know it's not cheap. I know it's not easy, and it's a good amount of work. I was really blown away when you first went through this about like how much paperwork you actually have to go through. Like it gave me confidence that the organic label actually means something.
It does. Yeah.
Is it worth it?
It's worth it for our business because it's how we've gotten some of our biggest customers.
Yeah.
Like, without that, I don't know if we'd even be in business.
Yeah.
Because there was actually a minute where we almost lost our certification, and then things just kind of fell in place.
Yeah.
We landed some organic people that appreciated organic certified coffee, and it really made me believe in what I was doing with that.
Yeah.
Because I always try to buy organic everything, and I know that strawberries, for example, are more important probably to have organic than things that are roasting to 400 degrees.
It's good.
You know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's so much more than that. It's also about the farmers, right? You know, and what they're exposed to, and just that whole supply chain. And it really attests to the quality and attention that people are putting into this coffee all the way
sustainability
through the supply chain. So that's a big deal. And I tell you what, we have gone through such great lengths with this organic certification. Our spreadsheets are so vast.
Yeah.
With everything we do. I mean, it even expands to like our pest control policy, like how we handle pests
at the roastery.
Wow. So it makes us a better company.
Yeah.
You know,
that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's a big deal for us.
What advice would you have for 17, 18, 19-year-old Eric? You're graduating high school, you're exploring going to college, or like what your career path is. If you were to go back in time, talk to 17-year-old Eric, what advice would you have?
I would say definitely start a business and fail if that's what it takes, because that's where you learn and that's how you grow. And, you know, even coffee, it's actually kind of a young person's industry.
Yeah.
And so you could get going early and just start small and learn how to run a business, because this business is just like any business. It's just that maybe has more zeros because we're not as big as like Starbucks or something.
Yeah.
But we have the same problems as any other business does. It's cash flow related, and you know, it's how you manage people and time. And these are all the same things. So
yeah,
starting a business, like try to dive into a business and learn as quickly as you can and start, because, you know, a 17-year-old that starts a business and a 30-year-old that starts a business may actually be have the same amount of experience, theoretically.
Yeah. Yeah. And a 17-year-old's probably got more energy and probably a lot less to lose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. As if having a family is a big deal. Like,
yeah,
this has to work. You know,
I kind of love that it's not like, make sure you take your accounting classes and your marketing classes and like do all the, try and get all this education and like just learn by doing.
Exactly. Because, as I fail, I keep having to, or like not, like, for example, not knowing my books.
Yeah.
I've had to learn my books and hire, or hire people to help me with my books.
Yeah.
As time goes on.
Yeah.
And so, I definitely know more than I did before about that part of the business. Right. But you just know that when you start a business, you do everything. So maybe you actually don't like the coffee part. Maybe you like making the website.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, I like websites. This is really fun. I like designing websites. Actually, I want to do this. And that part of the business intrigued you more. And that's actually your path becomes something without starting it, you would never know.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Eric, thanks for taking the time now.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. It was a bit of a chaos with the beach stuff, but Libra Coffee, check them out. Great organic roasts. You can find them in Jimbo's. You can find a few coffee shops here locally in San Diego. You want to pop off a few names?
Yeah. Nectarine Grove. They have a few locations. They're a great supporter of our business, opening another location too. We have a gelato, the 1022 gelato in Oceanside's a great friend of ours now. And I mean, the list goes on. We have so many. Harvest Ranch Market, Windmill Farms, just a ton. Thank you so much.
Come check them out.
All right.
Thanks, brother.
All right.
Appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Eric as much as I did. I love how a chance conversation with an employee at his favorite coffee shop led to him actually moving to Italy. I had no idea that there was an entire school dedicated to a master's in coffee science and economics. I can't believe it took a full year for Eric to get his roasting profile right, trading coffee or cash to other professional roasters to help him hone his skills and develop a signature roast that he was happy with. Eric's story really highlights hands-on learning, figuring things out as you go, and not letting opportunities pass you by. If you enjoyed this podcast, give us a like and follow. You can also check out our website at htbpod.com to see a database of jobs we've interviewed for already. We mapped out each career with key responsibilities, education and requirements, pros and cons, advice for the roles, and paths to get there, as well as some useful recruiting links. And if you feel like you have an interesting career and want to tell your own story on our podcast, just go to htbpod.com and submit the form. Thanks again, and see you next week.